and just going through different transitions with some friends and what my life looked like as far as community last year it's only March, it's already so different than what it looks like currently, and that's been challenging. Hey y'all, welcome back to Falling in Love with Hope K. This month's video is about friendship. I wanted to talk about friendship today because I do know that there are people who struggle making friends. I have struggled making friends throughout life, and it just feels like with every life transition, it's like I'm turning over friends. And there's a select few people who remain friends, period. I have a few girlfriends. I'm really about to be 30 because I just call my friends girlfriends. I'm really auntie now. But I do have a few girlfriends who have been my friends for 15, 20, even 30 years. Well, almost 30 because I ain't 30 yet. But I have those friends, and those are like my for lifers. But the friends that I get as I go through ages and stages, I don't think anybody prepared me for what it would look like to make lose, and have friends that are there for a season, have friends that you fall out with. I just feel like as an adult, I don't know if it's because I'm coming in contact with more people and you make these like superficial connections, and then before you know it, they just have blown off into the wind. So that's something that I have definitely been navigating. This past year, I lost a friend unexpectedly. She didn't pass away, but she just started being my friend. I haven't heard from her in over a year, and I said that I would start reaching out. When I start reaching out, they stopped reaching out, and I sensed that things were kind of dwindling away. But I thought, maybe I'm overthinking, maybe I'm tripping, and I felt like I kept fighting for that relationship when it was clearly over. So I just decided to stop. And what made me want to do the video about friendship, which I actually wanted to do the video about friendship months ago, but I was going through certain things and I didn't want to approach the conversation with the bitterness. So I said, let me heal, let me do the work that I need to do before getting on here and saying things, that are regretful or saying things out of spite. But as I was doing the 14 days of hard work and the Lover Girl video and all those things, I started to think about how a lot of my friendships have mirrored some of my relationships, and my unhealthy friendships and my friendships that didn't work mirrored my unhealthy intimate relationships. And I thought, okay, this isn't just a romantic relationship problem, this is a relationship problem in general. And I was thinking over friendships that had ended, and I was thinking over times when I felt like something was happening that was not right. And I thought over times where I could sense, I don't think this person is really my friend. I don't think this person really wants to be my friend. I don't think this person is who they say they are. And it feels like they're just along for the ride, or it feels like they're just here because other people are here. And I would stuff that in the back of my mind and push it down and tell myself, oh, you're just being insecure. And, maybe I would pull away a little bit and then the friend would come closer. And that's a lot of what happens in my romantic relationships. I might feel deep down that something isn't right, but then I'm afraid that maybe I'm overthinking. And I don't know why it wasn't until recently that I had this epiphany moment that, you can do all this healing and you can go through all this therapy, and you can bring these things up about romantic relationships. But if in your friendships you're still doing the damaging behavior, it's like you're still practicing and reinforcing that. So then when you get into a romantic relationship, it's not that you never healed, it's just that you might have stopped doing it in this place temporarily, but you still have all these unhealthy habits in another place, and eventually they start to transition into your romantic relationships despite therapy, despite healing, because you're still practicing them. Just like, addictions or other behaviors that you can't kick. Maybe I don't buy snacks for my house anymore. I only have healthy food at home, but then I go to work and I have all this junk food, and I'm wondering, well, why am I not, seeing the fitness goals that I want to see? My home is set up right. I did all the cleaning, I did all the things I need to do. I'm meal prepping, but then I'm going to work and I'm eating 500 calories worth of mini Snickers and Hershey's and bags of potato chips because that environment doesn't mirror the environment at home. So with the romantic relationships, it's like, okay, I did all this work, I did all this work, why is nothing sticking? But in this other area of my life that I didn't see as something that needed work, all the unhealthy habits that I was doing in this place, I'm doing them here. So eventually those habits start to creep in. So I broke this down into three different points that I want to talk about. So the first point that I want to talk about is discernment. I don't think that, I've never really talked much about discernment and friendship. And, growing up, my mom would say, that's not your friend. Or she would say, every smiling face is not your friend. Um, but I never really sat down to think about, how am I choosing friends? And so I actually do have a chapter in my book, a chapter in What I Lost While Finding Myself, where I talk about friends. And the chapter is called No New Friends. And I just talk about my process of realizing, how I was making friends in an unhealthy way and why some relationships weren't lasting outside of just, I'm growing as a person, we no longer align, but that's not always the whole thing. So I want to talk about discernment, and I want to talk about the word friend and the attributes of a friend, and just caution us about so quickly just calling people our friends. And I very recently said that I was going to stop calling people my friend who weren't my friend. And we get in the habit of like, oh yeah, that's my friend so and so, that's my friend so and so. And sometimes you call somebody a friend, but they're not actually showing up as a friend. And you can really set yourself up for a lot of disappointment when you're viewing someone as a friend, you're labeling them as a friend, but you can't actually count on them as a friend. So I have learned to get comfortable with just calling people acquaintances or someone that I know. And I think that that discernment piece goes in there because a friend is a very intimate relationship. And when we think about how they, refer to friends in the Bible, John 15:13 comes to mind. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Now think about that random person that you see every so often that you say, oh yeah, that's my friend. Would you lay down your life for them? Would they lay down their life for you? Um, and then there's Proverbs 17:17. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. So it's like we're giving people labels that they really haven't earned, and we're getting our heart broken because we're not examining our friends. We're not asking ourselves, is this someone who loves me at all times? Is this someone who has been there for me in a time of adversity? And would this person lay down their life for me? And not necessarily in the sense of like, you're going to die for me. But when we talk about, laying down our life, a lot of times in the faith, we talk about sacrifice. We talk about dying to ourselves. We talk about putting aside bitterness and pettiness for the sake of the health of the relationship. And I see so many friendships that are just so toxic and so unhealthy. And forgive me because I don't want to call those friendships. I see so many toxic relationships, labeled friendships, that aren't true friendships and they aren't true friends. And I see people in these situations, and sometimes even I think, why are they friends with that person? Because of a lack of discernment, or you don't want to be lonely, or you don't want to feel left out. But as you leave those situations, you will find more like minded people, you will find healthy connections. But you have to be strong enough to let go of those relationships that don't serve you. And what really was a light bulb to me is a friend that I'm no longer friends with. There was some situations that happened, and I was telling someone about them, and they were like, wait, why are you still that person's friend? And so the situation happened. We reconciled, or so I thought we did. I immediately went back to how things were, and then they just kind of slowly started to disappear. And I realized that I didn't have the discernment and friendship that I thought I had, because as I was confiding in people who I trusted about this situation, there was a common thread of, why are you still their friend? Why didn't you stop being their friend that day? And I could tell that they weren't a good friend when I met them, like a friend of mine meeting the friend that I'm referring to. And there were so many things that started to come up that I didn't see, because just like sometimes we just really want a relationship and we can, I won't even say ignore, we just won't notice it. We have so many blinders on. I really wanted a friendship. I really wanted somebody who I could call at any time. I really wanted somebody who, what I would call my get up and go friend, right? I'm single, I don't have any children. A lot of my friends are married and they have children. So I needed a friend to fill that void and fill that loneliness. So I overlooked things and betrayed my own discernment about things, even when they rubbed me the wrong way, because I really wanted to have somebody. And at the time, I wasn't thinking of it like that. I'm just thinking, this is my friend, whatever, it's cool, cool. She didn't mean it like that. He didn't mean it like that. But they did. And I'm really learning in this season to even just trust myself, because even recently, there's so many friendships in my life that have changed, that have fallen away. And I can literally remember the moment where I sat there and I thought, this person is not my friend. Or I don't think this person is really my friend. I don't think we're actually friends the way that we say we are. We're spending time together, but this doesn't feel like friendship. This feels one sided. It feels like I'm giving a lot, but I'm not getting a lot. And the word says there's no greater love than a friend who will lay down their life for you. And I'm just looking at, all the things I have poured out and I have given. And it's just been really humbling to realize this wasn't what I thought it was. Or it was what I thought it was. What I discerned and pushed away was actually true. And I'm at a place where I do want only healthy friendships around me. So I have been paying more attention to who the Lord puts into my life and building slowly. I think a lot of times with women, especially, we have these microwave friendships. And I talk about it in my book too, where you see somebody and maybe they just match your aesthetic. You have similar tastes, you have similar hobbies. This is my friend. Without really doing a lot of vetting, like a lot of the vetting that we do in intimate relationships, we don't do with friendships. And then we get surprised, like, how could they do this to me? You didn't really take the time to get to know them. And that may be why you couldn't really trust your discernment, because you didn't take the time to get to know them. So it was easier for you to say, oh, I'm tripping, I'm overthinking. But when you really sit down and know somebody and you get to know, just like with an intimate relationship, how do they treat other people? Even how do they treat their other friends? Just like with an intimate relationship, don't be so naive to think that the way they treated that woman or that man, they won't treat you. Don't be so naive to think that the way they treated that friend, they won't treat you. And looking back, I'm just recalling conversations of how certain people dealt with others and friends that they had. And I was, oh, I understand. But it's like, no, actually, that was wrong. And now I'm on the receiving end of it. And now I can see the other point of view. And had I really sat long enough, that friendship that I had to grieve probably wouldn't have lasted as long as it did, because I would have noticed those things. So, going from discernment, I also wanted to talk about disappointment, because, even if you do the vetting and you think you have the bestest friend in the whole wide world, and they're a great person and they would lay down their life for you and they have been there for you in a time of adversity, friendships change. Friendships change for so many reasons, whether a friend moves, a friend gets married, a friend goes through grief, a friend going through mental health issues. There's so many things that can happen in a person's life that can impact the way that they show up as a friend. And it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to have a desire for friendship. And it's okay to feel like friendship might not be coming as easily to you as it seems like it's coming to other people. And in the church, I hear a lot of people saying how they don't have no friends. And it's like, okay, it's a church full of people. You go to this church at least once a week. You don't have any friends. So I have, had to learn through the years of having that discernment and getting to know people slowly, not just jumping into relationships. And I have found that the relationships that took a little bit longer to build are stronger, they're more secure. They're not people that I feel like I have to constantly be in contact with or constantly hanging out with. And this isn't the, whole low effort friend. But I've had friendships in the past where it's like if I don't text fast enough, if I don't call back fast enough, if I spend time with my other friend and don't invite them, it's like jealousy and envy. And I've never been that person. It's like, okay, you have friends outside of me. I can totally understand sometimes feeling lonely or feeling outcast. But I've also moved to a place where I'm not going to try to force friendships just because somebody is friends with my friend. If I also become that person's friend, I want it to happen organically. And I say that because I want to have my own individual relationship with these people and not just be friends by association. Because what happens when you're friends by association is if there's one friend or two friends connecting everybody together, if people fall out with that one friend or two, that second friend, your whole circle of friends, you realize these people were not your friends. They were just around you by association. So sometimes you're around people by association and everyone has their individual relationships within that group. But a lot of times when you just kind of meet somebody in a big group setting, that's not always the case. And I've seen that go awry too, where people assume a deeper level of intimacy with people because they're in this shared group. But it's really, we just all at the same place at the same time and we have one common denominator as a friend. And that could be disappointing too. So I always like to leave the video with tips. So my last point is direction. Your discernment is going to help direct you, and your discernment is also going to help you minimize disappointment in relationships. So, number one, don't be afraid to shoot your friendship shot. A lot of the friends that I have now, I shot my friendship shot. I said, hey, let's meet up, let's get to know each other. Now, that does not mean that you're going to be besties for life because you shoot your friendship shot. So have realistic expectations and get to know people. There are people who have shot my friendship shot, and as I got to know them, it's like, we don't really mesh. So I'm just going to bow out gracefully. There's no hard feelings, but we don't really go together. Number two, don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone with friends. I talk about this in the book as well about how I would only be friends with certain kind of people. Have different friends with different personalities, different styles, different interests. Everybody in your circle should not like the exact same things. And you might be limiting yourself from having quality friendships because you're looking for the heel girly or the brunch girly or the gym girly. Maybe this friend is the nature girly. Maybe this friend likes to cook. Maybe this friend likes to throw axes. You can really expand even your own life by having friends who are different from you. Now, if you meet somebody and y'all have nothing in common, no common interests, and they're not doing something new that you're interested in, okay, don't force it. But don't just limit to yourself to what you can see. That includes race. Don't be afraid to have friends of different backgrounds, different cultures, and different ethnicities. And that's something that I always said that I regretted when I was in undergrad, because I went to a predominantly white institution, and I didn't really befriend a lot of people different from me. So if I could do something differently about my undergraduate experience, it would be really to get to know different kind of people. Um, so what was my first point? Shoot your friendship shot. Don't be afraid to get to know different kinds of people. And when you go out, network. We always talk about singles dates, take yourself out. Go to events by yourself, talk to people, exchange their numbers, exchange social media. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna meet up and again become besties for the resties on the spot. But the more you get out there, the more that you become familiar, the more that people recognize you, and as you frequent these places, you continue to network and get to know people on a deeper level and build your friendships in that way as well. And I think the last thing that I would say is don't be afraid to let go of friendships. Sometimes we don't shoot our friendship shot. We don't get outside our comfort zone with friends, and we don't go out and network because maybe we do have this big group of friends around us, right? But maybe it's not the group for us. So I recall, being in friendships and being in circles where it just didn't feel right, where it didn't feel like these were my people. And I just kept trying to force it. And I think about people who were reaching out to me like, hey, Brittany, you seem so cool. Like, I really love to get to know you. And we kept saying that, and we kept saying that, and we kept saying that, but nothing ever happened. Because on my end, I didn't really make it a priority because I'm like, oh, I got enough friends. Like, I don't, she seemed cool, but it's just not a priority for me. Whole time I'm putting my time and energy in spaces that aren't feeding me. So that's another thing that I really do want to work on too. Is I meet so many women who say we should hang out, and that I literally was supposed to make a social group years ago called We Should Hang Out, because that is probably the top thing that I hear from women at church. We should hang out. We should hang out. We should hang out. 3 years passed and we have never hung out. So that might be something that I actually finally do this summer. We should hang out and just go to things and invite people. If you know me, you follow me on social media, you know that I'm always going to something and I will literally go alone. So, you know what? Okay, Lord, we should hang out coming soon. But yeah, I just hope that this was some kind of encouragement to somebody who's in between friends, coming out of a bad friendship, or going through a transition of friendship. It's hard. It really is hard. And friendship breakups are not easy. And I hope this is just comfort to someone who might be grieving a friendship that is no longer in existence or one that has changed drastically. But you do share so much of yourself in friendship that losing a friend is is devastating. And sometimes you don't know how people handle friendship breakups. So sometimes you're wondering, we're not friends anymore. Are they talking about me? Are they telling my innermost secrets to other people? Will we ever reconcile? If we do, will I ever get over this awkward feeling or this betrayal that happened or this lapse in trust? So don't be hard on yourself if you are really having a hard time going through friendship breakups, because it is hard. And I will say, if you do fall out with a friend, make sure to always keep your integrity. If they were your friend and they entrusted you with information, if you all decide not to be friends anymore, their information should still never leave you. You should not go on telling their information to other people, because you should still have integrity. And even in friendship, I'm also learning to guard your heart. I have a habit of when something is going on, I'm about to call my friend, I'm about to call my sister, I'm about to da 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 da. And I'm learning. You can keep some things for yourself. There are some things that are just for you. If you have not purchased my book, What I Lost While Finding Myself, you really need to purchase it. I'm actually going to run upstairs and grab it so y'all can see it. But this is the book. I don't know if y'all can see it. I'm not one of those fancy YouTube girlies yet. What I lost while finding myself. I need to stop doing weird stuff because I'm going to have to edit that out. This memoir explores the intersection of womanhood, relationships, and spirituality, capturing the moments when choosing yourself feels both liberating and lonely. That's where I'm at right now. Liberated but lonely. It speaks to the grief. This is really the season I'm in. God is crazy. It speaks to the grief of outgrowing people, the courage it takes to confront inherited beliefs, and the slow intentional work of healing with vulnerability and clarity. The author invites readers into the in-between spaces where loss and freedom coexist and self-trust is rebuilt, one honest decision at a time. Written for readers navigating transition, healing, and self-discovery. What I lost while finding myself is a reminder that losing parts of your old life is sometimes the very thing that allows you to finally come home to yourself. This is literally where I'm at right now, guys. Like, this is literally, I'm definitely in a transition season period, and it's not been easy. It has been really hard. It's been real hard. But there's 10 things that I lost while finding myself. My baby is available on Amazon. It's $15.99 because your girl needs to make a profit, okay? It's a beautiful book. So yes, thank you for falling in love with Okay.